The Lord has just been really awesome to me, and the opportunities I've had in my big league career. I've always tried to make sure that I put him in the forefront of all of it. You know, the time I was born until I was 10 years old, I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Whenever I was 11 years old, I moved to Texas. My sister went back then to what they would call like a church revival. And my sister accepted Jesus. She came home and told me and told my parents that, you know, she accepted the Lord and had invited me to go to church with her the very next night. And for me, it was the first time that I had ever heard that I was a sinner and that Christ had died for me on the cross and that I needed him to be my Savior. That night, I walked the aisle at the end of the service and asked Christ to come into my life and come into my heart. And, you know, I had been in church for a lot of years at that time, but there was something different about that. I accepted Jesus that night. And he changed my life. I got invited to go to another church down the street when I was 15. It had a really big youth department in it. So went to this church, and that's where I met who is now my wife, Laura, when I was 15 years old. She was a preacher's daughter. All of her brothers are in the ministry. They were all pastors. And she was the baby. When you start dating a preacher's daughter and you walk into a family like that, you know, you better start trying to grow in your walk and grow in your faith. And really, I started, you know, growing in my walk and really wanting to grow closer to the Lord. And then just carried it right through high school, you know, continue to try to just grow in my walk. I signed with San Jacinto Junior College to go play, you know, baseball. And was the first time I kind of got away from, you know, the little small town that I was living in, and you kind of, you know, see what kind of like temptations there are out there, right? With all the other guys and stuff like that, things that they're doing. And, you know, I think God was just preparing me at that time for pro ball and for what was to come. And of course, end up signing with the New York Yankees. In 1991, walked through the minor leagues. I got married at a young age. Me and my wife got married. I was 20 years old, and we were in A-ball. The whirlwind hits when you make it to the big leagues in 1995 for me, coming from a small town like Deer Park, and you know, the pressures of playing in New York, the temptations of being in New York and being a star player. We had won a lot of championships, and obviously I just had a blessed career, and just everything along the way. I've always tried to put God first and tried to honor him. We tried to do devotionals during the day in the clubhouse. You know, I always tried to make sure that we had Bible studies, and in the off season, I tried to go around and share the gospel and share my testimony in churches and stuff like that. I felt like God had blessed me and given me the platform to make it to the big leagues, to win championships, and always tried to share what the Lord had done in my life and the things that I felt like was important. And for me, the most important thing is that people are accepting Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. If you're watching this video, obviously you're interested in sports, interested in baseball. And, you know, I would always tell people at a young age not to take it too serious, right? Enjoy the game, have fun playing the game. And then, of course, how important it is to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. Our society pushes fame, money, possessions, status. That's kind of like the big thing. Well, I mean, I can just tell you from my own experience, right? Like as a big league pitcher, I've won 5 World Series. I've played in 8 World Series games. And those were great moments for me. Those were great experiences. Those were dreams of mine that I had when I was probably in high school and hoped one day I'd be able to accomplish. But those things, like, they're fleeting. They come and they go. They didn't change me. You know, the only thing that really has changed me, changed the way I've acted, changed the way that I've lived my life, changed the way that I think is after I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior.